So today I want to talk about how it feels when you're trying to project yourself so much that you lose sight of what you're actually projecting. So I was given the challenge to try to explain why I feel it's so difficult to sit in front of a camera and talk about how I feel and talk about all the things that are going on with me. So to start off, I guess it really comes from wanting to be as clear and concise as I possibly can be. I want to be able to put something out there that actually is, quality. And that is personal judgment. It comes from deep down inside of me thinking, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right, and I'm not going to make any mistakes. I'm not going to fail at it or anything like that. And it is such a limiting mindset. It tears you down because you just want to be something better than what you already are. Really, to be better than what you already are, it is a mindset. It's something that you're going to think about all the time, but the only way you're going to achieve something like that is by being it. You're never going to just be better by thinking about it. You have to actually flow with it. You have to be in the moment, acting it, and constantly going forward with it. So, for me, I guess I'm kind of afraid. I'm afraid of looking stupid. I'm afraid of not knowing exactly what I'm talking about. I'm afraid of so many things, and I really hold back on it just because it is kind of a lazy attitude. It's like, oh, I'll do it whenever I'm ready to do it. I'll do it when it happens and when it comes. And I don't really push myself that hard. Because, a lot of us, we tend to sit back and relax. Especially whenever we think that we've done enough. But for so many of us, what we think enough is really comes down to the amount of motivation that we have and how willing we are to do something and make something happen the way that we see it needs to happen. So, when I've been thinking about how I was going to make this video and what I was going to do with it, the main thing I thought about, and I've been thinking about recently, is that for the rest of my videos, I'm going to stop cropping them. I'm going to stop doing the edits that I've been doing, and I'm going to let me 100% naturally start talking the way I want to talk to the camera, whether it sounds good or not. And the little things that I'm going to want to do, I'm just going to flow with, and I'm going to allow to happen. And if they don't work, then they just don't work. But I really do want to push myself a little bit harder to make these things exactly what they need to be, whether or not they're as good as they could be. I really think that a big part of why I've struggled with this so much is because I have so many thoughts that go on in my head all the time. I'm always, always, always thinking. And even just like a couple of seconds ago, I went from one train of thought to another so quickly that I did lose track of where exactly I was going, if I was going anywhere. And for my brain, it always feels like when that happens, I tend to tell myself, shoot, you forgot. Instead of just letting the moment roll off of my tongue. And then later on, I refresh the conversation in my mind and I remember exactly where I was going. Because from all the meditation that I've done, and when I sit there and I start reflecting on a conversation, I can remember where I was going with it, but in the fire of the moment, in the heat of the moment, it is so much harder to find that train of thought and take it exactly where you want it to go. And really, it's being able to go fast and slow at the same time. you're able to figure out where you want to go, and then you go back to where you are and you figure out how you're going to get there. And while you're doing that, in the simultaneous process of doing that, you're continuing to move forward too. I mean, it takes a lot of thought to really communicate ideas. That's why a lot of people have trouble with it, I believe, because there's so much it takes into formulating a conscious experience in a way that can be expressed to someone so that they can relate it to their own lives and to their own minds. There are so many ways that we have the ability to communicate. We communicate through our physical bodies. We communicate through the senses. We communicate through language. We communicate through body language. I mean, really, there are so many ways that we produce what we feel. But with what we feel, those feelings never change in a certain sense. Like, what I mean when I say they never change is that they are absolute. It is the truth of our authentic being that is always there, constantly shining like a light. And what we do and what we're meant to do is to figure out how to turn the light on for ourselves. And whenever we start to judge ourselves and start to think about, oh, maybe I could have done this better, or maybe I could have done that better, we're turning off a part of our light. And if we keep turning off the light, we're going to get depressed and we're going to feel like there's no way out, because we're not giving ourselves a way out. We are actually producing a cage around ourselves because we're limiting how much love we are allowing to flow through us. Something recently that I read about, that someone posted this article, or it wasn't really an article, but it was just a post that they had made themselves, and it was about, oh, let me think, how exactly did they put it into words? Ooh. Oh, I can't think of it right off the top of my head. I've almost lost my train of thought again. But when we limit ourselves from being able to express 100% of who we are, we take away the ability to fulfill our hearts. And if we don't fulfill our hearts, we start to see the other side of our personalities. We start to see the parts of ourselves that can be condemning. And really, any negative thought is a pattern. It's a way that you have trained yourself to think. So when you allow yourself to go into these negative thoughts patterns, you are actually training yourself to do it again and again and again. Well, when you can sit down with these negative thoughts, you can accept them and you can love them, you can retrain yourself to think positively. Now, for all of those positive thinkers out there, I'm telling you this. Positive thinking is a great tool. It is something that you need to use. But it is not something that you use to extinguish all of the bad negative thoughts that are inside of you. Positive thinking is about simply being able to look at the situation in new light. That doesn't mean you lose the negative thoughts. It means that you're able to take those negative thoughts and create a new reaction while you're feeling what you're feeling. And really, pain is something that we have to feel. Pain is there to be felt. We are meant to get angry when we get angry. We're meant to get sad when we get sad. We're meant to feel pain when we are feeling pain. And all of those things can be seen in a better way as this is who I am, this is who I need to be, and I need to feel this. I'm not going to hate my pain, I'm going to love my pain. And that's a positive way to think about a negative emotion. There are so many things that we have to do to recreate the thought patterns that go through everyone's brain. Like, with all the bad stuff that's happening in the world, we don't realize that all the bad stuff that's happening in the world is what's creating the change in the world. It's bad things that make people like us realize what needs to change. and what inside of us needs to change. Because you can't change somebody else. The only person you will ever be able to change is you. You can show other people how you have changed, and maybe it can influence them to change, but the only person you can ever truly change is yourself. Even if you have power over someone and you are forcing that person to change, they are actually choosing to give you their power. The choice is always the individual's. We are all equals. We all have the same amount of power, no matter what. It's just who has realized what they have and who hasn't. So, to be able to express yourself and to stop holding yourself back, you have to keep going. You have to keep acting. You have to do the things that you tell yourself, I don't want to do. And it's okay to tell yourself, I'm not ready yet. But when the time comes, even if you don't think you're 100% ready, you are ready. You wouldn't be where you are if you weren't ready to do exactly what you're ready to do. Take the leap of faith. Don't be afraid to go out on that limb. Don't be afraid to take that chance that, could hurt, because you need to love that hurt. Maybe something about that hurt is something that needs to happen. And, we'll never know what needs to happen. What needs to happen is going to happen. And if we can take it inside of us and make it what it needs to be, that's when we can change ourselves. And maybe by changing ourselves, the world will change with us. So, for me, I'm going to work harder. And I really mean that. I've said that to myself so many times. And, I have been working harder on things that I've kept a closed door on and I haven't talked to anybody about. But I feel like the hard work that I've pushed myself through has given me a new ability to love myself. And that includes loving when I'm not doing the best I can. When I'm not doing the best I think I can. Because it really is just, it's a mindset. It's you trying to be the best that you can be. And it is good to have that. Just don't let it get out of control to where you think the best you can be is the only you can be. Because you can be anything you want to be. You could be the worst you could be. And if you still loved yourself, it's okay. But I'm going to leave it off here with that and end what I'm saying. I'll let you guys decipher what you want to decipher, and we'll just keep going on with the ride. See you later.